prologue the Battle of HFY Gate. I was there when the skies burned. I, Careth of the Visha Dominion, veteran of 100 wars, commander of fleets that span the stars. And yet, I had never known fear until the day I fought beside humans. We called them Deathworlders, and it was no exaggeration. Their home world was madness incarnate, oceans that swallowed cities, storms that could erase continents, creatures that hunted everything that moved, including their own kind. The Council said they were primitive, reckless, and dangerous. They were wrong. Humans were not dangerous because of what they did. They were dangerous because of what they endured. The arrival of humanity. When the Galactic War began, humanity was still new to the stars, one of hundreds of minor species in the Council Alliance. We expected them to stay quiet, to defend their borders, nothing more. Then the Krith hegemony struck. Entire systems fell in days. Planets burned. And among the refugees came whispers. Humans were not retreating. They were advancing. By the time the Council realized the scope of it, it was too late. Human fleets were already deep in Krith territory, fighting in silence, leaving wreckage and fire in their wake. That was when I was ordered to join them. First contact on the battlefield. The humans didn't greet us with ceremony. Their flagship, Dauntless, was a scarred steel monolith, blackened from battle and humming with energy. When I boarded, the first thing I noticed was the smell oil, sweat, and something faintly metallic. The corridors were narrow, built for function, not comfort. Every surface bore marks of repair done under fire. The human soldiers stood at attention, eyes sharp, faces unreadable. Their commander, Colonel Moravant, extended her hand. I hesitated. She smirked. "Don't worry, Commander. We don't bite unless you're the enemy." I believed her. The Battle of HFY Gate. We arrived at HFY Gate, a dying star circled by shattered worlds and a massive Krith fleet. The odds were impossible, 300 ships against our 80. My strategy was simple. Hold a line, wait for reinforcements. The humans had another plan. "We don't hold lines," Vance said. "We break them." Before I could protest, the Terran fleet accelerated toward the enemy at suicidal speed. And for the first time in my career, I saw something I had never seen before, a fleet charging into certain death, laughing. The madness of humans. The Krith unleashed a storm of plasma fire. Dozens of human ships vanished in seconds. But they didn't slow down. They accelerated. The Dauntless rammed through a Krith cruiser, tearing it in half with kinetic shields burning red-hot. Human fighters dove into flak storms so dense my senses went blind. They used debris as cover, radiation bursts as camouflage, and gravity wells as weapons. They turned chaos into art. One of their captains screamed over comms, "We're not dying today. Boys, we're making history." And somehow, impossibly, they did. The turning point. Midway through the battle, our communications went down. Krith jamming fields cut us off from command. I watched as a human squadron drifted behind enemy lines, surrounded. Their hulls were burning, systems failing. Then something strange happened. Their ships didn't flee. They powered down, letting themselves appear dead, then reactivated all at once, launching EMP warheads at point-blank range. Every Krith ship within range died instantly. When I asked later why they risked everything, Vance just said, "Because we ran out of options. When that happens, we make new ones." The price of victory. The battle lasted 14 hours. When it ended, half the human fleet was gone, but the Krith were wiped out. The gate belonged to us. As I surveyed the wreckage, I found human marines on the surface of a shattered world, digging graves for Krith and allies alike. I asked why they buried their enemies. A sergeant looked up and said, quietly, "Because someday someone might have to bury us too." That was the moment I understood. Humans don't fight for glory. They fight because someone has to stand when everyone else falls. The aftermath. The council called it a miracle. The Krith called it a massacre. We who were there called it something else. Proof that the universe had misjudged humanity. They were not conquerors. They were survivors who refused to die quietly. The Krith retreated after Ion Gate. Their warlords began whispering of Terran ghosts, ships that appeared out of nowhere and vanished into the dark. Even the gods of the old pantheons, those ancient AI constructs worshipped on Krith worlds, spoke in encrypted transmissions. Fear the ones from the blue world. They carry extinction in their hearts. What I learned. Months later, I was invited to Earth. It was not what I expected. The air was heavy, the gravity harsh, the creatures terrifying. And yet, everywhere I looked, there was beauty, music, art, laughter. Humans celebrated life because they had stared death in the face and survived. Their soldiers trained not just in combat, but in compassion. Their scientists built weapons capable of ending worlds, and then locked them away, because they could. They had the strength of gods and the restraint of saints. And that, I realized, was why even gods feared them. Epilogue. The Human Legacy. Years have passed since Ion Gate. The galaxy is at peace, for now. But whenever a new war brews, every commander, every emperor, every AI remembers the same warning carved into the wreckage of that battlefield. We are human. We have already survived the impossible. Try us. I once thought fear was a weapon of tyrants. Now I know the truth. Fear belongs to those who underestimate what it means to be from Earth. And I will never make that mistake again.